So, Tony, is it okay if I record this call and put it on my YouTube channel?
Yes, of course. Yeah. If you want facts and figures, maybe I'm going to have to do a little bit more homework, but I can generalise things for you, no problem.
No, generalization is fine. We can just have a casual conversation. To the extent you're able to answer things, that's fine. If you're uncomfortable, just say you don't remember. That's okay.
No, to be honest, I'm quite honest and open about everything, so I don't really care to be honest. Yeah, crack on, mate. Crack on.
Lovely.
Bearing in mind I'm English, so some of the you're American, aren't you? So some of the terms I will you may have to adjust if you're going to publish any of this.
Lovely. No problem. So what country are you in, Tony?
I'm in the Philippines, obviously. I live in Lucena, which is in the province of Luzon, which is it's basically about 120 kilometers south of Manila.
South of Manila.
I literally live in the province. Yeah, south of Manila.
Lovely. That's one of the larger islands. And so are you at a higher elevation or are you closer to sea level?
Where I actually live, I'm actually at a reasonably high elevation in that I live between two volcanoes, one of which is literally I can walk out my back door and look at. Hasn't erupted in 400 years, thank God. So I'm quite high up, so I'm not dealing with floods or anything like that here.
So you have a nice elevation, so that might mean your weather is cooler than other parts of the Philippines.
Absolutely not. We have, because I live in the province, we're surrounded by trees. And if you live the Filipino life, then you know that the best way to keep cool is to get under trees. I'm not in a city, so it doesn't heat up as quick as, say, Manila. I lived in Manila when I first came here, and you can cut this bit, but I really do not like Manila. I've lived in many cities in my life, and that's not why I came to the Philippines. So I live outside of any city. But yeah, we have lots of trees. It's never extreme heat, and it's never ever cold. It's never cold, ever.
Oh, lovely. So how long have you been in the Philippines?
I originally came here in September of 2015 for a month.
Wow.
And then I went back to my own country for a month. I decided I'd come back for my 50th birthday to the Philippines, which would have been November 2015. So I'm coming up 55 in November this year.
So tell us, what does it cost to live there? I know, I'll warn people, your average expat is not Tony. And so you have a family, you have a real integration into the society. So tell us what that's like and what it costs.
Well, first thing can I just say about my problems with expats is every time I tried to mix with them when I was living in places like Manila, is they tend to spend, when they get together, all the time criticising the Philippine people, the culture, the roads, smog, and all the problems that come with living in the Philippines. And I really haven't got time for that, so it's just an absolute choice that I decided I really couldn't be bothered with it.
Absolutely.
So, let's start with rent. My rent here is 5,000 pesos a month.
Wow, that's amazing.
No, that's the province, and my wife's uncle, and I'll say that in the loosest sense of the word because everybody's an uncle, auntie, brother, sister, because of the politeness here.
Right.
5,000 a month. We don't have any aircon. So the lowest temperature, you asked about temperature, so the lowest temperature we get here, my missus will go to bed and huddle under a quilt at anything around 24 degrees, which obviously in my country is a summer's day out in shorts.
Right.
So I've become accustomed to it. And our temperatures don't really go to the mega high, they don't go to the mega... The lowest I've ever seen here is 23 degrees, the highest I've ever seen here is around 35, 36, 37. I've never seen the Manila 40 pluses here. we live by a big volcano, so obviously, and we're a little bit high up. So yeah, it's pretty even all year round. So we have no aircon. The cost for Meralco, which is our electricity here, does vary. The kids, obviously, at the moment with COVID, are off school. You can take the word COVID out if you want to relationship. They are watching TV and playing computers all day. So our electricity bill here is around 1,400 to 1,500 pesos at the moment. So it's normally around 1,300 pesos per calendar month. And then the biggest saving that we do make, I must point out at this point that I really don't go to bars, which I think you made a comment on your last video that, you know, if you're going to go out drinking at bars, then you are going to get robbed, especially as a European in the city.
Absolutely.
Not back here. If you go out to a bar here, it's 45 pesos for a beer. If you go to a really nice one, it's 50 pesos for a beer, which is, we call it a pint in England. It's half a litre of beer is around 45 to 50 pesos maximum. But I really don't do it these days. Maybe once in 1 month, maybe.
Yeah.
And that's normally because we're out shopping, and I just say, "Come on, I fancy a beer," and we don't go in. We go into a local bar. We don't use the evening type. You know, there's lots of different sorts of bars here, but we just don't do it.
Right.
At the moment, I have Marissa has 3 children. As I said earlier in the conversation, unfortunately, the father of the children passed away, so that was a few years back. So I've known them for obviously, I've known them for 6 years in April, I suppose. Right? Yeah, 6 years is. I support those. I support my nephew, my Asawa. I also acquired a sister-in-law. Don't know how that happened, but that's the Philippines for you. You've got to expect that she came here looking for work. We've seen the city is not far, and where she lived in the province, there was no work, absolutely zero work. So she came and stayed with us. We just turned up at my brother-in-law's house, which is very small. There are 5 children, and there's absolutely zero room. So she asked Maricel came to me and said, "Do you mind if my sister stays here while she finds work?" I went, "No problem at all. You get used to it in the Philippines. We only have a 2-bedroom place. We've got 3 kids, sister-in-law, in one room, me and Maricel in another. And it's not a bad price property compared to some properties around here, but it's not a big property. Water, at the moment, because the supply has been a problem, we pay minimum, which is 163 pesos in a month, which is nothing. But that's because we don't get any. What happens, we have a truck come once a week, and everything that's plastic and old water gets filled with water, and that's how we get our water. So the showering is the traditional Filipino way, which is with a bucket and a smaller, I don't know what they call it in English, the tabo. It's called tabo here. It's just like a little hand ladle, and you sort of wash yourself in that. It is proper the way people live here. Rainwater, obviously, is free. So everybody, this is why I interrupted the conversation to make sure that all the plastic, the young boys put all the plastic out for me. I'm trying to think. Food is interesting.
Yeah, food.
I eat local food. I cook local food, which I enjoy. I've learned how to cook it. I've learned how to eat it. I have no issues with Asian food, never have, and I've eaten in many, many Asian countries. I do vary the dishes. For example, one of my favourite dishes here is sinigang, which is a very salty dish, and I add carrots and potatoes to it. But we buy everything, and I mean everything, not at the mouth. We buy it either from street hawkers to the local market, With COVID, I used to be able to go into Messina and go to the market pretty much any time I like. Now we've got passes and we've got to obey the laws and the rules. So only one person per marathon goes. We on a really extravagant month, our food comes to around 10,000 in 1 month, and that is absolutely maximum.
And how many people is that feeding?
That's myself, 3 very hungry kids who we turn over 38 kilos of rice in a month, and they're all, when I say kids, one's 16, one's 15, and one's 13. So they're growing kids, and sister-in-law.
So that's 6 of you on $100 a month.
Yeah, but we eat local food.
No, it's 200 a month. 200 a month. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. It's 10,000. Yeah, $200 a month.
Wow.
We do get a lot. Again, in the province, we have things like people around here. They have banana trees. So, for example, they have a load of bananas. They'll come around to your house. They're friends of ours. But part of the community, they'll give you bananas.
Yeah.
We have outside the house lots of herbs growing, and we also grow other bits and pieces depending on the season. But we don't have any land to build. It's actually growing in the street, believe it or not. It's quite amazing. But any patch of greenery anywhere, they will plant anything that grows its beneath. Coconut. Never bought a coconut since I was. Well, tell a lie. When I was in Manila, obviously, I like coconut. I bought coconut. Here, never bought coconut since I've been in 5 years.
That's great.
Never need to. Bananas, yeah, sometimes we have to buy them because, there's different sorts of bananas here that we're bargain up. But our average, including the bits and pieces, I would let's say 12,000 pesos all in.
Wow.
And that includes things like dinner pie, which is, dinner pie here is bread, cake, stuff that sometimes the kids, obviously my missus doesn't like meat in it because it's not good for them, but we'll buy that as well. So yeah, we'll buy stuff that, luxury, if it's not, it's hardly luxury, is it? But stuff that is not part of the general diet here, we will buy. And again, sometimes I like potatoes, and potatoes are expensive here. An English tradition. Potatoes are very nice.
So
but
what?
Yeah,
we
have gas as well. We use 2 bottles of gas a month. Sorry, 2 bottles of gas a month. But we also have an open fire. They call it a grill. It is basically a pit fire. So anything like dishes that take an hour to cook, they never go on. We have an oven, which is unusual here. Most people don't have ovens here. We have just a 2-ring burner. But I obviously have a nice TV. I have an oven. Certain things.
So what is it all in? What do you spend per month all in? Would you say?
Well, I know that I spend all in less than 550 GBP British pounds. I know that because that is what I get per month with my pension. I shouldn't have retired till I'm 55, which is November this year. I'm not there yet. All my finances were set up for that date, and I decided to stay and just go with the flow, if you like. Live the Filipino way, and £550 here is 4 times my brother-in-law's wages per month, and 3 times my friend who's a school teacher here a month, and 2 times my friend who's a doctor here a month. So I thought, they can do it, I can. And I live quite nicely on that. And I smoke and I drink. But I drink something called Imperial. Yeah, it's brandy. In England I drink whiskey, but the whiskey here is like, I probably can't say it on your channel, so I won't, but let's just say that it's not good. But yeah, the Imperial brandy, I think It's around 150 for a litre, 150 pesos. So I mix it with Sprite, which is the brand is bad for me, but Sprite's worse than diabetic. But if you mix it with Sprite, Sprite is 25 pesos for a bottle. I sit there, can watch TV, have a glass of brandy and Sprite. I smoke a brand of cigarettes called 𝐕𝐝𝐼𝐈, which are a menthol cigarette, which are really bad for me, and I should be stopping. And they work out at around about in pesos. I'll do it in pesos, but you can convert it to dollars. They are 100 peso a pack.
So all in, you're under 500 pounds per month.
No, I'd say 550 because I actually get 550. And sometimes we spend, for example, if we want to go to Jollibee or the kids want a McDonald's or Kentucky or something, that is out of the norm. But if I don't spend, we do stuff like that. So, but my actual pension I get here is £550 a month.
And so,
506. Sorry, it's £556.16 at the moment.
wow.
But as a 55 in a few months' time, it will dramatically change.
So one of the things I've noticed about living in different parts of the world is that it feels to me like life is more full. I don't know how to say it in a meaningful way, but it feels more full to me because the people around me appreciate it more. I'm not sure how to say that either really, but even with less money, even with what would seem like in the West would be wouldn't even be possible. It may not even be possible. But the people around me seem to be happier.
I would have to certainly go back to work if I went back to my own country. There is absolutely no way I could afford rent, bills. Well, I could afford rent and bills, maybe, but I couldn't afford to eat. I certainly couldn't support a family like this. But the difference is here, going to your sentiment, I am now standing across the road outside a local shop, what they call a Tinder hand. It's a very local shop, a very small shop, because they've got a cover, and if I go in my house, the TV will be able to signal on the phone, as we've discussed. My door is open. I have about half a dozen, maybe more children on the street, because it's pouring down with rain, washing. They will run into my house. I have friends and family all around me. They walk into my house, just walk in for a chat. They'll sit down. If you're eating something, you share your food. If you're drinking something, you share your drink. It's nothing like where I've come from. I mean, London, where I used to live, is you wouldn't dare leave the door open. Never mind, let strangers walk down. But people just walk in here and they just go, "Hello, how are you?" And being a foreigner, when I first came here, everybody thought I was American and called me Joe. It used to be a standard joke. They just walk past, notice that I was sitting there with the door open, and just walk in here, "Hi Joe, how are you doing?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not American." But that's the way it is. The family's everything here. And the families are huge. My family with 3 kids, mum and dad. Here, I mean, you can have 3, 4 generations. Kids just wander by, you don't know whose kids they are, and people aren't funny about, It reminds me of Spain. I don't know if it was traveled to Spain in the early 80s or late 70s, but my parents moved there, and my eldest daughter, when she was a baby, a baby, she was only a few months old, we took her out to mum and dad who were living in Spain, and we went to a restaurant, she started crying, so the woman in the restaurant took the baby, and said, "Eat your meal, and we'll babysit the baby." And so my wife, obviously English, didn't like this much, but I said, "No, it'll be fine, it'll be fine." Anyway, we finished our meal, and the baby wasn't there. And I said, no, you're going to the Paraquito, which is 1 village away. The baby's in the bar you're going to. They've taken the baby, nursed it, taken it up to the next bar we're going to, and my missus went nuts. But this is what it's like here. I mean, I get young kids coming in, I get adults coming in, and grandparents look after kids, people look after kids. It's just like one massive community here. It's lovely. It's brilliant.
So do
They're
you?
all going mad now if you hear them in the background.
So do you feel respected?
Absolutely. Respect this is something I learned before I came to the Philippines. Respect in Southeast Asia is based on two things. One is your age. That is probably the biggest thing, and you must have seen this yourself. The older you get, the more respect you get. I get called Tito Pussy, which means white uncle by all the kids and a lot of the younger guys and people here, because I'm older. So they call me Tito, which is uncle, and then Pussy because I'm white. No, the respect is, the children are much more respectful. I've got 3 daughters. Trust me, they wouldn't survive 10 seconds in the Philippines with the respect you get from a European family. People would think they were very rude, in all honesty, and I hate to say that, but it's true. Yeah, the kids are very respectful. Everybody's respectful for everybody else. Even if you're having a disagreement, it's not like you'd expect in a European country. I've been to America a few times, but you have a disagreement, it can get quite loud and it can get actually quite interesting. Tends not to happen here because people don't do it. It's respect, even if they're wrong, you know, people tend to learn and walk away, which is good, which is a much better, nicer way of living.
So do you feel loved?
Absolutely. By my family here, absolutely 100%. And also by a lot of the locals here. If you've lived in a city like London, which I did, and I've lived in many cities, but you walk down the street and people will literally go out of their way to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's a bit strange because we in English we always say if you're meeting someone, you always mention the weather. Here, I thought they were being rude at first. They'll say, where are you going? They just come out with it, where are you going? It's like us saying, what a lovely day. They just go, where are you going? And that's the culture here. But yeah, it's fantastic. I won't go back. There's no way I'm going back.
And so are
Can
you?
I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Would you want to go back to America at this moment in time? I believe you're American, aren't you?
Yeah, I am American, and I honestly can answer that question without hesitation. I love my family, and I love all my friends in America, but I feel more connected in many other parts of the world. I do love America, and I hope the best for America. And I have a sister who lives in the UK. She lives in Glasgow, and I also love the UK. I love actually the whole world. But I just feel like things are a little disconnected now in the West. They're a little bit selfish, if you will. And so I feel better in almost all of Southeast Asia, almost all of the world, frankly. I think there's a bit of entitlement. And I'm not saying that as in judgment. I'm only saying that observationally because I think the entire world will pull itself together eventually. I have positive hopes, but I don't want to live there right now while it's going through this transitional part. I like living where families are like automatically trusting each other and their neighbors, and I just don't feel that. I feel distance when I'm in the West.
I think I absolutely agree with you, and I think that what I would say, which is, I don't know if this is what you are trying to say, is we've lost in the West the family and a lot of trust. That's how it strikes me. I mean, the family here, old people here they don't go to OAP homes. They're not put into care. The family unit in the Western Hemisphere, is my honest opinion, is lost. And a lot of respect has been lost. And entitlement is a big thing. I definitely agree with that. Definitely agree with that.
Yeah. So are you happy?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hitting the magic age of 55 in November, and then I made the point in your post to point out that these people say you cannot live here for that is rubbish. It's absolute rubbish. But obviously, in November, when I am 55, because if you understand the laws in my country and the way things work, you shouldn't be retiring at 49, 50 years old. You should be retiring minimum 55, and that's the only mistake I've made. But I've survived it, I've enjoyed it, and I think it's great. At 55, I'm going to have extra cash, and that's going to be even better. I mean, this means that I can do a lot more travelling, and, well, subject to COVID, of course, but I can do a lot more things and more spare cash per month. So, yeah, all good.
That concludes part 1 of my interview, Does Living Abroad Feel Better?, where I interview a British policeman named Tony that retired early to live in the Philippines on 550 British pounds sterling, which is about $725 per month for a family of 6. Make sure to listen tomorrow, where in part 2, when Tony, the British policeman, explains how to successfully find love in the Philippines online without falling for any of the online dating scams. Click the more information in the description below this YouTube video to get a free copy of my ebook, How I Fired My Boss and Traveled the World for 13 Years. My goal is to make this channel better every day, but I need your help. Please leave your new topic ideas, criticism, and other thoughts in the comments below this video. This is Dan of Vagabond Awake, the YouTube channel for Vagabond Buddha. The world is your home. What time will you be home for dinner?